Hello everyone, I'm Lakha Tiwari, IELTS trainer at EduNirvana, and in today's video, I will be talking about one of the trickiest question types in IELTS listening test, that is match the information. In such question types, you are required to match a list of numbered items or questions to a set of given options. Here, the task requires you to look for detailed information and recognize relations or connections with the given questions in the listening text. The major problem faced by the test takers is to understand the options because the audio provides them with the description of those options in a much elaborative and paraphrased way. Moreover, in most of the cases, the number of answer choices are more than the number of questions. So, this often leads to confusion between different options. At times, the speakers have two contradicting views, which makes it difficult to identify the correct answers. So, in such situations, the test takers should understand the context and the outcome of the conversation. Now, moving on to the strategies that will help you mark accurate answers. Strategies for such question types can easily be categorized into number 1, pre-listening strategies, and number 2, during listening strategies. The first pre-listening strategy would be to skim the questions and the given answer choices. Also, try to write the description or explanation of the given options as per your own knowledge. If talking about the strategies to follow while listening to the audio, these will range from listening carefully to the introduction to focusing on the keywords. You should listen to the keywords and try to identify them with the descriptions that you have written in the pre-listening stage. Now, let's talk about a situation where you miss an answer. In such cases, do not get stuck on one answer, but move on to the next one. Looking for signpost languages will help you in these situations. And after the end of the audio, you can try and guess the answer for the missed questions. Since there is no negative marking in the IELTS exam, it is safe to guess an answer. Now that we have understood this question type in detail, let us solve some questions to understand them better. From the questions, we can understand that it is about different personality traits that children are likely to have on the basis of their position in the family. Now, there is one thing to keep in mind. The audio will give information in the same order of the questions. That means the traits of the eldest child will be followed by that of the middle child and so on. Another thing to keep in mind is the number of options. There are total 8 answer choices from A to H for only 6 questions. This means the two options are trap. Now during the reading time, I will go through all the options and write either their synonyms or the characteristics of each personality traits. So let's start. Outgoing. An outgoing person is someone who is socially active, someone who enjoys the company of others. So for outgoing, I will write socially active. Moving on to selfish. Selfish is someone who thinks only about his or her needs. So his or her needs. Then comes independent. Independent is a self sufficient person. So I will write self sufficient. One who can look after their own self. Then comes attention seeking. An attention seeking child would be the one who would behave in a way to elicit attention. So here I will write elicit attention. The next one is introverted. Introverted is a person who enjoys their own space, someone who is not socially active, or a person who is confined to oneself. So for introverted, I will write not socially active and enjoys own
company. Next is cooperative. So a similar word for cooperative would be helpful or supportive. Then comes caring. Caring is an easy one, so we don't need a description for that. All we can say is a caring person is someone who looks after others. So here I will write looks after others. And the last one is competitive, which means someone who desires to surpass others. So I'll write surpass others. Now we will listen to the audio and try to match these personality traits. We will look for keywords and identify them with each of these characteristics. So let us begin.
Ed, how are you getting on with the reading for our presentation next week? Well, okay, Ruth, but there's so much of it. I know. I hadn't realised birth order was such a popular area of research. But the stuff on birth order and personality is mostly unreliable. From what I've been reading, a lot of the claims about how your position in the family determines certain personality traits are just stereotypes with no robust evidence to support them. Okay, but that's an interesting point. We could start by outlining what previous research has shown. There are studies going back over 100 years. Yeah, so we could just run through some of the typical traits. Like the consensus seems to be that oldest children are generally less well adjusted because they never get over the arrival of a younger sibling. Right, but on a positive note, some studies claim that they were thought to be good at nurturing. Certainly in the past, when people had large families, they would have been expected to look after the younger ones. There isn't.
Here, the key traits of the oldest child were number one, less well adjusted, and nurturing. So, if we match these traits with the given options, we can find that the answer is option G, that is caring. Moving on to the next one.
Such a clear picture for middle children. But one trait that a lot of the studies mention is that they are easier to get on with than older or younger siblings. Generally eager to please and helpful, although that's certainly not accurate as far as my family goes. My middle brother was a nightmare, always causing fights and envious of whatever I had. As I said, none of this seems to relate to my own experience.
Traits of middle child were easy to get along and helpful. So we will write that. And if we match, we can find the answer is F, that is cooperative. The next one is the youngest child.
I'm the youngest in my family, and I don't recognize myself in any of the studies I've read about. I'm supposed to have been a sociable and confident child who made friends easily, but I was actually terribly shy. Really?
For the youngest child, the speaker says that the outcome of the studies differ from his own personality. As per the studies, the youngest child is supposed to be sociable and confident. So we will write these two traits for the youngest child. And these traits match with the first option, that is outgoing. So our answer will be option A.
Really? That's funny. There have been hundreds of studies on twins, but mostly about nurture versus nature. There was one on personality which said that a twin is likely to be quite shy in social situations because they always have their twin around to depend on for support. My cousins were like that when they were small. They were only interested in each other and found it hard to engage with other kids.
For twins, they say that they were shy in social situations. So the keyword here will be shy. And when we match it, we will find that the personality trait for a twin would be introverted. That is option E.
They're fine now, though. Only children have had a really bad press. A lot of studies have branded them as loners. We think the world revolves around them because they've never had to fight for their parents' attention. That does seem a bit harsh. One
The audio says that an only child has a bad press, which means we have to look for such trait which is negative. Additionally, they describe an only child as loners and who think that the world revolves around them. So the trait will be that of loners. And when we match it with the options, we will find the answer is option B, that is selfish. Now for the last one, a child with much older siblings.
category I hadn't considered before was children with much older siblings. A couple of studies mentioned that these children grow up more quickly and are expected to do basic things for themselves, like getting dressed. I can see how that might be true. Although I expect they're sometimes the exact opposite, playing the baby role and clamoring for special treatment.
Here, they say that children with older siblings grow quickly and do things themselves. So the keyword we'll write is grow quickly and do things themselves. So that can be self-sufficient. And when we match it with the options, the answer will be option C, that is independent.
So these were the strategies to help you match the information type questions of IELTS listening with greater accuracy and speed.